Imagine the most important war council in history, where no one has a plan, half the attendees hate each other, and the fate of the world gets dumped on an unsuspecting hobbit. Welcome to the Council of Elrond, Middle-earth's biggest case of "this should have been an email." The Council of Elrond, on paper, a historic meeting of the free peoples of Middle-earth to determine the fate of the One Ring. In reality, a gathering of leaders, warriors and travellers who mostly argued, wasted time, and let a hobbit make the biggest decision of the age. Somehow, this group of mostly unprepared strangers managed to chart the course for the downfall of Sauron, by accident. Let's take a look at how this legendary meeting turned into one of the most chaotic brainstorming sessions of all time. For those of you who may have blinked through this scene, or just remember it as that long talky bit before the adventure starts, the Council of Elrond was basically an emergency meeting where the leaders of Middle-earth came together to decide what to do with the One Ring. Hosted in scenic Rivendell, this council featured representatives from different factions, men, elves, dwarves, wizards and hobbits, who all had wildly different ideas about what should happen next. Spoiler alert, most of them were terrible. So, you've got an evil artifact that could end the world. What do you do? If you answered hold a strategy meeting where no one actually has a strategy, congratulations, you're Elrond. They spend hours listening to exposition, like they're in a history lecture they can't escape. Then instead of, actually discussing ideas, they just stare at each other awkwardly.
Well, the tale is now told from first to last. Here we all are, and here is the ring. But we have not come any nearer to our purpose. What shall we do with it?
There was a silence.
You'd think that after centuries of this ring being a ticking time bomb, someone would have walked into this meeting with an actual plan.
Give Gondor the weapon of the enemy. Let us use it against him.
Ah yes, the classic let's fight fire with an even bigger, more cursed fire plan. Boromir is basically the guy who thinks taming the dragon is a great idea, right up until it burns down his entire kingdom.
No, Boromir, we can't just slap on the ring and call it a day. It's pure evil. It corrupts literally everyone, and even the strongest among us would end up as Discount Sauron 2.0. Look at Saruman. He didn't even have the ring and still went full villain. This thing is a cosmic disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, hard pass on that one.
Elrond delivers an elegant, wisdom-filled speech about how trying to out-evil just makes more evil, and Gandalf follows it up with the verbal equivalent of a door slam. Safe to say, Boromir's big idea didn't make it past the first round of approvals. But wait, Boromir wasn't the only one with galaxy-brained ideas. Let's take a moment to appreciate some of the other tactical masterpieces that got thrown around.
What if we just toss the ring into the ocean? Let it sink to the bottom and be forgotten.
Ah yes, the classic out of sight, out of mind approach. Because nothing could possibly go wrong with throwing a sentient evil artifact into the sea, where it can just chill for a few centuries until someone inevitably dredges it up. Genius.
What if we send it across the sea to the Valar?
Oh yes, let's mail Sauron's favourite trinket straight to the gods, and just assume this will be the thing that finally gets them off their divine backsides. They've ignored everything else so far, but sure, a cursed piece of jewellery will totally make them want to get involved. Great plan, except they'd probably just return it with a politely worded "not our problem" notice.
What if we just hand the ring over to Tom Bombadil? You barely noticed it last time. So, maybe he can, I don't know, babysit it forever?
Alright, let's hand the most dangerous artifact in existence to a singing forest hermit who talks in rhymes and literally forgot the ring existed 2 minutes after holding it. What could possibly go wrong? Aside from him misplacing it under a pile of enchanted acorns, or tossing it into a river because it looked happy floating.
Why don't we just smash it with a big axe?
Because that was the first thing we tried and it did nothing, Gimli. But hey, appreciate the enthusiasm. And so, after a long and painful discussion filled with only bad ideas, the fate of Middle-earth ended up in the hands of the world's smallest and least equipped diplomat. Truly inspiring. After listening to these clowns bicker for an eternity, Frodo, the smallest, most underqualified person in the room, is the one who actually steps up.
I will take the ring, though I do not know the way.
And just like that, this random dude from the countryside volunteers to fix everyone's problems, while the supposed leaders of men just stand by, probably hoping someone else would step up first. Meanwhile, Sam doesn't even hesitate. This man sees Frodo take on an impossible mission and is just like, guess I'm going to Mordor too, hope they have good potatoes.
Potatoes!
So in a room full of battle-hardened warriors, ancient elves and actual kings, the only ones brave, or crazy, enough to volunteer for this death march are two hobbits who, up until a few months ago, thought adventure meant sneaking extra mushrooms at dinner. The so-called great leaders? Silent. Absolutely brilliant.
You shall be the Fellowship of the Ring.
That's it? That's the big plan. You had one job, Elrond. Maybe a small army. Maybe some reinforcements. Nope, just these 9 guys, most of whhom literally just met today. Elrond, ever the strategist, decides that because there are 9 Nazgûl, the best course of action is to send 9 people, as if this is some kind of fantasy boxing match where we're aiming for a fair 1v1 duel instead of, avoiding literal undead kings who exist solely to hunt the ring. We have 1 ranger with commitment issues, a dwarf who wants to smash everything, an elf who contributes nothing but hair flips, a prince with daddy issues, a wizard who is already done with everyone's nonsense, and 4 halflings who barely know how swords work. Flawless team selection. But wait, it gets worse.
The ring-bearer is setting out on the quest of Mount Doom. On him alone is any charge laid. The others go with him as free companions to help him on his way. You may tarry, or come back, or turn aside into other paths, as chance allows.
So let's get this straight. Frodo, the smallest, least experienced guy in the room, is the only one actually responsible for this suicide mission. Meanwhile, Elrond makes it abundantly clear that everyone else is just here on a voluntary basis. No oaths, no obligations, just a casual stick-around-if-you-feel-like-it policy. Fantastic. I bet Frodo really feels supported in his quest to save the world. And that, folks, is how Middle-earth's last best hope against darkness was decided in the most dysfunctional meeting of all time. No PowerPoint, no real plan, just vibes. In the end, it somehow worked out, but not because of this meeting. Next time, maybe Rivendell should invest in a war council, or at least a whiteboard. Like and subscribe for more chaotic fantasy takes. Until next time, don't let wizards gaslight you into unpaid internships.